What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. So happy to be here. Number one, I just want to thank you guys so much for all of the likes, all the support, all the new subscribers to the channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're new to the channel, definitely hit the subscribe button and drop a like for the video. I also appreciate your comments and your questions. A lot of you guys have been asking me for more passive income videos, more investing and stock market, real estate investing related videos, and also side hustles and how to create home-based businesses. What's a good home-based business idea that actually still works today? In this video, though, I want to share with you guys some some really insightful information and a discovery that I've seen. And I've seen this pattern so many times, and we've talked about this many different times in the past. Pay attention to patterns. Those who can recognize patterns early and often, they're going to make a lot of money. Those who ignore these patterns are going to get wiped out. They're going to get destroyed. They're going to lose their financial security if they even had it. They're going to find themselves living paycheck to paycheck, and they'll be a victim of the financial crises that inevitably form. They will be shocked when economic bubbles happen, yada, yada, yada. Well, and they'll also suffer job loss, all as a result of ignoring these patterns. Now, one pattern that I've seen really consistently, but the inspiration of this particular video is I was actually hitting the gym the other day, and I know a lot of different people there, and so I have little brief conversations in between sets and stuff like that, and I noticed a very, very stark difference in between a couple of my buddies at the gym. Now, I hope they're not watching this video, or at least I hope one of them's not. Actually, I hope both of them are watching, because it'll be a pat on the back for one, and hopefully it'll be a realization for the other. And for the sake of this video, I'm going to change the names up. Hopefully, hopefully they'll recognize who they are based on their actions, right? So my boy Mike, right? Totally different from James. Totally different. In fact, I don't know if I've ever seen Mike and James talk to one another, except if I'm talking to one of them and the other one happens to see me and they say what's up and whatever. But so their lifestyles and their goals are absolutely different, right? So basically, Mike, he works like 40 hours a week, and he's always complaining about how much he hates his job. And it sucks, but it is what it is, right? But he doesn't realize he can really make a change. He can change this, right? But anyway, so he works 40 hours a week. He has no savings, always complaining that he's living paycheck to paycheck. He had some problem with the bank a couple weeks back where his check got delayed. I don't know if he was, I don't know if the company he worked for, or if he had a bank account with one of the banks that actually failed recently. I don't know if it was like Silicon Valley Bank or First Republic Bank or something like that. But anyway, simple fact of the matter is he lives paycheck to paycheck. So when he had an interruption in his income, he was pretty much complaining. And in fact, while we were at the gym, he was saying that the gym membership hit his bank account and he was getting overdraft fees because his check didn't come in on time. Anyway, one of the joys of living paycheck to paycheck and having automatic payments turned on. Anyway, or automatic draft turned on, which I hate. I do not do automatic draft. Anyway, so Mike basically, his life pretty much revolves around hitting the gym, which is cool, though I don't see him very consistent. His diet is complete shit. But, in his spare time, he pretty much just chills at home, scrolls Instagram, TikTok, swipes Tinder, and this is basically his instant gratification, right? Any kind of extra money he gets, he'll blow it on going to the mall and buying stuff he can't really afford because he's leveraging whatever credit line he's got left on his credit cards. Now, my boy James, on the other hand, my man is killing it. Okay, he's totally killing it. So basically, James, he runs his own business. He's got a couple of businesses, right? But he's got a home-based business, and he's got some other businesses where he's kind of like a silent partner in, where he's a business owner, but he doesn't really have to do anything. He just kind of collects a passive income check, basically. But so James, he owns his own business. He reinvests all of his profits to building his business even further to growing his business, and he's ultimately building his dream life. And he shared with me his he's got a vision board, and his vision board looks like mine. And ultimately, you know, during his free time, he's building connections. He's hitting the gym with me. You know, he's making gains. He's eating right. His diet is on point. He's got like one cheat meal a day. He doesn't do a whole cheat day. He does like one meal, usually on the weekend, where he just kind of lets himself eat whatever, and he kind of like resets his mind, resets his body, and you know, he's making gains, right? And instead of chasing women like Mike does, James really doesn't even pursue. He doesn't actively go after women. He doesn't actively pursue women. He pretty much just lets them chase him. And I don't, you know, they're both good looking dudes, you know, and I'm married to a woman. So, but I can admit that they're both decent looking dudes, but one just seems to have all the women follow and chase him. And that would be James. And James is not chasing them, you know, so they're actually just coming to him. Pretty cool concept here. And I'll save my opinions on that for another video, but it really makes you want to assess yourself. Like just think about like, what's the difference between these two dudes, right? Like one's broke, living paycheck to paycheck, in debt, credit card bills, whatnot, credit card debt rather. The other guy, he's reinvesting in his business. He's making gains. Relationally, he's doing well. He's in the gym on a regular basis. What's the difference between these two guys? You know, and you know, if you're in a situation where you feel like you're stuck, you got to reassess yourself. You got to think, okay, well, what am I doing? What am I happy with? What am I unhappy with? And what changes do I need to make so I can actually start hitting my goals, so I can start reaching financial freedom? And, you know, this is a conversation I had to have with myself years ago, spinning my wheels, killing myself, working a job that I hated, car payments, debt, credit card bills. I couldn't keep doing that. Thankfully, I met certain people in my life, different mentors, started reading books. Told you there was a point where I couldn't even afford to buy the books that I was reading. I would just hang out in the bookstore and read them while I was unemployed. That was a sad time of my life, but at the same time, it created a strong foundation, because a lot of those habits I began to create out of necessity at that point became long-term habits that helped me to improve my financial standing and get closer and closer to financial freedom, which I think a lot of you guys are trying to do the same thing. And I know a lot of you guys are doing very well. You're well off. You know, some of you guys have commented, you know, how well your stock market investments are going, your real estate portfolios. Some of you guys have paid off rental properties, and you're just getting $10,000, $15,000 a month, literally, with minimal expenses. You guys are killing it. And I find you guys inspirational. But, you know, one thing I realized is that I had to become insanely competitive in order to get out of the rut that I was in. And, you know, I had to get rid of this idea that, you know, participation is enough to win, right? And this is what they teach us in school. You know, they encourage you to just show up, which showing up is, you know, it's a big part of the game. But to get a reward just for showing up is teaching the wrong thing, in my opinion. They're teaching you that, you know, mediocrity is okay. For me, it wasn't. I wanted more than that. I wanted more than just living a traditional life, living paycheck to paycheck like everybody else, hoping to be able to retire at 65. I wanted more than that, you know? And the education system just teaches you to get a basic 9-to-5 job, carry some student loan debt, and do what everybody else is doing, right? And so, you know, I knew that there was a different way of living my life, especially seeing other people who were successful versus people who were unsuccessful, defined by me, living a life that I did not want to live. I looked at people who I wanted to emulate, and I began to study them. And so that's what I did. I study them, right? And so, and social media kind of makes it worse. Like if you're spending a lot of time on Instagram, TikTok, I think Instagram is probably worse between the two, Facebook too. But, you look at some of the perfect lives, or at least seemingly perfect lives of the Kylie Jenners, the Kim Kardashians, and then pretty much anybody out there that's on Instagram just straight flexing, trying to show this perfect lifestyle where a lot of them are unhappy or are just living a completely fake life. And it's like, okay, do I really want that? And it made me really analyze myself and ask myself, well, what do I really want? Like, what do I really want? And I just became hyper obsessive once I realized what was important to me. And I would reject this concept of this work-life balance and literally I just began to just focus on dedication and obsession. I wanted to create a form of income that would come in on a regular basis that was independent of my constant work efforts. Many people call this passive income. Most people only have active income, and that was me, But then I started, it's funny because I really enjoy training in the gym. It's so fun to me. People don't even understand. That's my high for the day, right? But the thing is I started viewing business as a sport, and I got better with age. I got better with time because I got more experiences, learning what was working, learning what wasn't working, learning from other people. And, that's what I did, and I became more of a producer. See, here in America, the GDP is basically just 70% consumerism, consumption, meaning Americans running out to the malls, going out to the stores, buying up stuff. The GDP is 70% coming from consumerism. People just buying stuff from the stores. And I realized that, if I keep doing what everybody else is doing, I'm going to keep getting what everybody else is getting, further and further into credit card debt, and never getting ahead financially, right? The goal is financial freedom. Not necessarily that I want to retire early, but that I have the ability to retire early if I chose to, right? And so what I realized is that the people who were winning, they were creating rather than just consuming. And so, they would create products that could be ultimately sold. They would offer services that could be ultimately sold. They were creating small businesses. And some of these small businesses, it could be a home-based business, it could be an internet business, online business, side hustle. They could ultimately be evolved into bigger businesses. I mean, you got companies like Apple, Amazon, Tesla. These companies are killing it, right? But if you think about Amazon was started by Jeff Bezos in his basement. Well, no, it was started by Jeff Bezos in his parents' garage. And look what it has evolved into. It's a tremendous empire, and Amazon has created many millionaires. I've sold thousands of products on Amazon, leveraging Amazon's Amazon FBA. I would import products, manufacture goods over in China, private label them, send them over to Amazon's website. Some of them I would do drop shipping, leveraging Amazon's website. I had a separate Shopify website. So I would sell products on Amazon. I would also sell products on Shopify. And it's crazy. You look at a lot of these retail goods that you see in Amazon, a lot of these products you could get for for example, I would find these products that would be, you could buy them, you could sell them on Amazon for $22 all day long, $22, $25, right? But you go on these different websites like Alibaba, and I would work with these manufacturers, and I would be able to get that same product for $22 that you could sell for $22 to $25. I'd be buying them for $2. Unbelievable. But most people would never know that because they're not researching it, trying to start a business, which I felt like for me to achieve what I wanted to achieve out of life, I need to go a different path. So, and I think that was one of the biggest differences between being a consumer and being a producer. And then that also kind of changed my life in terms of my perspective on how I view certain things. Like a lot of my broke friends, they tend to overemphasize the value of certain things that I just don't necessarily value as highly as they do. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with what they're doing, but it's not in alignment with what's important to me. So, for example, I'm not gonna be living paycheck to paycheck, broke, spending $60, $70 on a t-shirt. That's not my priority. I would like to understand, if I'm broke, living paycheck to paycheck, how do I sell a t-shirt for $50 to $60, $75 rather than putting a t-shirt that's $75 on a credit card that I can't afford, making somebody else rich? I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with having nice things. I like nice things. Who doesn't? But to the point where I'm going to prioritize consuming nice things before I have a surplus of cash to work with just doesn't make any sense to me. And so this is like another thing that I was realizing that was holding me back. And, others might see the same pattern in their life. I know Mike was seeing that, after I kept drilling it into his head. James definitely knows what's up, right? So, and then I started tracking my net worth. Now, this was really important because when you don't track your net worth, you don't really realize if you're going in the right direction or not. Now, I'm not saying like look at it every single day, because it'll change every single day and it's going to fluctuate kind of like the stock market does. But you want to look at it like every, once a month, once a quarter, and just see, are we going in the right direction? And hopefully it's going up, right? And that's just really important to do. So, that is something that's really like tracking. I used to work out at LA Fitness, and on the wall it said, things that get measured get improved. Either it was on the wall or it was something that they would say on the announcements as they're playing music in between music songs. I think there was a commercial that would play, and it's like, what gets measured gets improved. And it's so true. And the same thing goes with your net worth. If you're tracking it, inevitably you don't want to see it keep getting worse. You want to improve it. So you'll figure out ways of making it get better, right? And, and I ultimately became less awkward with money, and the stress, would ultimately go away, because it was like, hey, look, I understand where we're at and I understand where I'm trying to go. And that helped me to build comfort and familiarity with money and, how money works. A lot of people don't even understand that, right? And, you got companies like Google, Microsoft, Facebook, these are some simple companies, big name companies on the S&P 500 that pretty much everybody has heard of. And, I started building a portfolio around these companies. Now, I'm not trying to buy a bunch of individual stocks. Ultimately, I found that my time was better spent investing in ETFs, index funds, mutual funds. Let the experts be the experts. I'm not an expert at every single company, because if I'm going to invest in a company, I want to know everything about it. And I'm not going to spend the time to figure out every single thing about every company. And then on top of that, keep up with every company as it evolves and what's happening with this company as it hits the news. My time, I found, was better spent building businesses, building passive income streams, and increasing my skill set. That income increase allows me to then have a surplus to be able to invest in other things more passively. So, anyway, I just wanted to kind of share this with you guys because, just really evaluating your approach can go so far. There was a quote that I read many, many years back, and I think it said something like, something about chopping a tree down. Man, I need to write these quotes down. But it's something about chopping a tree down. And basically, you got one guy who's chopping this tree. He's chopping at it. He's working at it for like an hour. The tree is still standing. He hadn't chopped the tree down yet. Meanwhile, the other guy, he doesn't chop the tree for the first 30 minutes. For the first 30 minutes, he's sharpening the axe. And then he chops the tree down in like 10 minutes. So my point is did you see that? My point, sharpening the axe. Anyway, so my point is sometimes it's probably in most cases, it's really, really important to evaluate where you're at and figure out the sharpest, smartest, most effective approach to achieving your goals. And then you'll put yourself in a position to be able to hit them. So anyway, right now you should see 1 or 2 videos here or here. I want you guys to check out those videos. Click those links, watch those videos, drop me some comments down below. Let me know what you want me to cover in future videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'm gonna see you guys on the next one.